$3.2 billion vanished in under 1 hour. And why? Well, because one of the market's most important players disappeared. These invisible players in the market are called market makers. They're the reason you can buy and sell crypto instantly. But on October 10th, 2025, their sudden retreat caused one of the most violent market crashes in crypto history. And today we're pulling back the curtain on these silent players who, for better or for worse, truly run the market. Welcome back to Unwrapped, your podcast series for DeFi, NFTs, Onchain culture, and all things in the BMX ecosystem. And before we jump in, just an important reminder that none of this is financial advice. It's all for educational purposes only. So what is a market maker? Well, let's use a pretty simple analogy here. Imagine a specialized grocery store that only buys and sells, say, gold apples. A market maker is the owner of that store, and their job is to always have a buy price and always have a sell price, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And when you walk into the store wanting to buy a golden apple, the owner will sell you one on its shelf for, let's say, $30,100. This is the ask price. But when you walk in wanting to sell a gold apple, the owner buys it from you and puts it on their shelf, paying you, let's say, $30,000. This is the bid price. And the market maker is constantly posting both of these orders at the same time. And that $100 difference, the gap between their buy price and their sell price, well, that's called the bid-ask spread. And that's their potential profit for running the store. They buy low from sellers, sell high to buyers, and pocket the difference. And this is how market makers make money. Not by betting that the price of gold apples will go up, but by earning that tiny spread thousands or millions of times per day. So why is this store so important? Well, without it, the market would be a ghost town. It would be what we called illiquid. Now, if you're deep into DeFi, you might be thinking, wait. What about decentralized exchanges? And you're 100% right. They use a totally different and amazing system called liquidity pools to solve this exact problem, often without these traditional market makers. But that's a completely different, separate topic for another day. For today, we're focused on the centralized world like Binance or Coinbase, the big exchanges where the vast majority of trading still happens. And in that world, this grocery store model is everything. So, in that model, imagine trying to sell your gold apple in an empty farmer's market. You'd have to stand there and shout, "Anyone want to buy my golden apple?" Until, eventually, maybe, someone shows up. But what price would you sell it for? I mean, really, you'd have no idea. Maybe the last gold apple sold for $30,000. But if the only person who shows up offers you $25,000, you'd either take it or you wait. That's an illiquid market. Now imagine a big trader trying to sell 1,000 gold apples. Their one giant sale could crash the market for everyone. And this is where the market maker's grocery store is essential. By always being there, they create two crucial things. Number one, order book depth. This is a fancy term for how many gold apples are on these shelves at different prices. Market makers fill their shelves with their buy and sell orders, creating a thick, stable market that can absorb large trades. Second, low slippage. Slippage is the difference between the price you expect to pay and the price you actually pay. In that empty farmer's market, you'd have massive slippage. But because the market maker's store has so many gold apples on the shelf at tiny price differences, your order executes at a more predictable price. Market makers are the ones who turn a chaotic, empty farmer's market into a reliable 24/7 supermarket. So, market makers get to profit from the bid-ask spread. And remember, that's the small gap between their buy price and their sell price. But they also have a second, even more important way of making money. Exchanges pay them to be there. Think of a centralized exchange like Coinbase or Binance, and think of them as giant shopping malls. You and I, we're the shoppers. We go to the mall to buy and maybe even return some items. The market maker is the giant anchor store, the Nordstrom, the Macy's. The owner of the mall knows that no one's going to come to an empty mall. They need that big, reliable anchor store to be there, with its lights on and shelves full, to attract many of the shoppers. So, the exchange, the mall, gives the market maker, the anchor store, a special deal. When you and I, the retail shoppers, make a trade, we are takers. We take the price that is offered to us. And the mall charges us a fee for this, called the taker fee. When the market maker posts its orders, it's a maker. It makes the market. Not only does the mall not charge them a fee, it often gives them a rebate. And that's right, the exchange will pay the market maker for providing liquidity. This is the maker-taker model. Exchanges will even give them other perks, like faster connections to keep them happy. It's a symbiotic relationship. The market maker brings the liquidity attracts the retail traders, and the retail traders pay the fees that fund the exchange. So being a market maker sounds like a great gig, right? You get paid by the exchange and you get to make money on that spread. Sounds like a risk-free money-making machine, but in reality, it's actually way more risky than it might sound. And to understand the October 10th crash, you've got to understand the underlying risks for market makers. And there are two big ones. Risk one, inventory risk. Let's go back to our gold Apple store. What happens if there's a panic and everyone starts returning their gold apples? Well, the job of the market maker is to buy them, right? So they buy, and they buy, and they buy. And suddenly, their shelves are overflowing with gold apples. And before they can resell them, news breaks. Gold apples are unhealthy, and the price of gold apples crashes. They're now stuck holding a massive inventory of an asset that is rapidly losing value. Risk 2, adverse selection. And this is the most important one. This is the sucker's risk. Adverse selection is the risk of trading with someone who knows more than you do. And now for this example, I want you to stop being the shopper. I want you to imagine that you're the market maker. You're the owner of that gold apple store, and you're standing at the cashier register. As the store's owner, let's say your price to buy gold apples is $30,000. Suddenly, a trader runs in and sells you 1,000 gold apples at your $30,000 bid price. A second later, another trader comes in and sells you another 1,000 gold apples. And you, as a store owner, you fulfill your duty, but your instincts are telling you something. You know that something's wrong. These aren't normal customers. These are informed traders. They know something you don't. Maybe a new regulation, a hack, or a bad political announcement is about to hit the news. A minute later, that news hits the public and the price of gold apples crashes to $25,000, and you just got fleeced. You were the sucker who provided liquidity to all the informed sellers right before the crash. That is adverse selection. And this is why, when things get crazy, market makers don't just sit there. Sometimes they run. And this brings us to the October 10th, 2025 liquidation cascade. And this is where all those concepts collide. The setup. The market was fine. Bitcoin was over $120,000, but many traders were over-leveraged, which is a fancy term for borrowing money in order to make bigger gambles. Think of it this way. These over-leveraged traders, they didn't just buy one gold apple. They took out a loan to buy a truckload of gold apples. And they were making a bet that the price would only go up. The catalyst. Unexpected news hit. The White House announced a surprise 100% tariff on Chinese imports, and this was a massive negative shock to the global market. The cascade. The news hits. The price of Bitcoin starts to drop, and those leveraged traders, their loans are now in serious trouble. The exchange's system sees that their bets are failing and automatically forces them to sell in order to coverage the loan. This is a liquidation. And this isn't a normal person just selling. This is a flood of automatic sell at any price orders hitting the market. And within about 40 minutes, nearly $7 billion worth of positions were forced to sell. At the absolute peak, in one single minute, over $3.2 billion was liquidated. What does the grocery store owner do? They see a tidal wave of sellers running out the door. And this is the adverse select situation we talked about coming to life. From the market maker's perspective, this is an informed trader event. They don't know who's selling because of panic and who's selling because they know even worse news is coming. But it doesn't matter because they're not going to wait around to find out. They decide they're not going to be the sucker left holding all the bags. And they decide to pull their orders. And this is the climax. The forced sell orders are still coming in, but now there are no more market makers left to buy from them. And going back to the grocery store example, it's like a panicked mob running into the store to return all their golden apples they bought, but no one's at the cash registers. The exchange's liquidation engine is desperate. It needs to sell these orders, so it searches for any buy order, no matter how low. And the price plummets in a liquidity vacuum. And this is why the crash was so uneven. Bitcoin, which has the most market makers, fell about 14%. Its shelves may have been thin, but not completely empty. But the altcoins? Solana crashed over 40%. Toncoin fell almost 80%. Some small tokens flash crashed to near zero. And not because they were worthless, but because for a few crazy, scary seconds, there was literally not a single buy order left on the books. That's what happens when every cash register in that store suddenly slams shut. And then it was over. The forced sellers were all flushed out. The storm passed. And what happened? The market makers, they came back. And within about 30 minutes of the event, order book depth recovered to over 90% of its pre-crash levels. And the grocery stores, they turned their lights back on. They updated their prices for the new, lower reality and reopened for business. So, the crash of October 10th was a painful stress test. It showed that market makers were the unseen engine of calm markets. They're the reason you can trade instantly and at a fair price. But it also showed that they're not charity. They're risk managers. And when a true black swan event hits, their first job isn't to protect you, it's to protect themselves. Their retreat is what turned a bad day into a historic crypto crash. It's the moment the absence of liquidity, or the ability or inability to buy or sell, becomes the most powerful force in the market. So the next time you make a trade, you'll know who you're really trading with. A massive network of market makers, all balancing on a tightrope of risk and reward to keep the market shelves stocked. Thank you for watching this episode of Unwrapped. If you'd like more content, make sure to catch up on our previous episodes of the BMX Crypto podcast on Apple or Spotify. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, because it all helps greatly. Thanks again, and I'll catch you on the next one.